And welcome back to the 2019 Cannabis Industry Summit by Steward Media. Joining us now is Harley Sherman. Harley, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you.
So you are a CPA.
I'm a CPA licensed in the state of Michigan. I can work all over the country.
Tell us about your company and what you do, and especially as it relates to the cannabis industry.
Right. So my company name is Chaim, which is Hebrew for tree of life. Chaim is my Hebrew name, so it fits really well. We help our clients in the cannabis cannabis realm to to work on getting them licensed, clean up past poor tax issues, help them with their accounting and bookkeeping, get that set up. We can do their full accounting for them. We do their tax returns for them. We offer audit support if it's needed. And it's just making sure that they're complying with the rigorous regulations by the IRS.
So are there a lot of different regulations between one type of business and the cannabis industry?
Yes, so for cannabis, because it's a Schedule I drug, there is a code section 280E, which prohibits a cannabis entity from taking any normal expenses and credits that you would expect that a normal retail or normal company entity would take. So in this case, in Michigan, they're called provisioning centers. They're only allowed to take the cost of the cannabis or whatever product they're getting in and the cost of the transportation. That's the main one. So there's a couple, packaging might be, and then once there, you start pushing the envelope beyond that. But if we were a normal retail business, like a clothes shop, we would be able to take all our lighting, our utilities, our rent, everything. But provisioning, those are expenses, so those are disallowed by the tax code.
If I'm getting into the business, why is it important for me to find a CPA that has a lot of expertise in cannabis?
Because first of all, you want to make sure to file as the correct entity type. A lot of people will go out and form an LLC, and that may not be the best tax entity structure to be. You also want to make sure that your books are set up properly, because you have to make the assumption that you're going to be audited either by the state or definitely by the IRS. And so you want to make sure your books and records are as audit-proof as possible. It's a risk, but we can at least manage that risk.
From the outside looking in, it looks like the rules are kind of fluid and always changing. Do you have to stay on top of this? And how much does someone who wants to get into the business have to stay on top of it, or do you do that for them?
Well, from the tax and accounting standpoint, I do that for them, but it'd be good for them to know, because for our firm, one of our core values is educating our clients, so they can, I don't want to tell you do this and you're thinking, why am I doing this? So we keep on top of the tax court cases, what's going on now with the Fair Banking Act coming through, with the Fed committee pushing through legalization of cannabis. We're keeping on top of all that so we can help our clients make the right decisions at the right time.
How do you see the cannabis industry growing in Michigan? Did you guys decide to get into this because you think it's going to really take off?
I got into it because I just thought it was such a fascinating industry, and then it kind of took off from there. But I see, especially with recreation, even though there's only a handful of municipalities that opt in for adult use or rec, I think once it gains ground and the other municipalities see what the value is, they'll also start opting in. So I can only see it going up from here.
So at this point, you think there's maybe more reward than risk, whereas maybe 3 years ago there may have been more risk than reward?
Well, I think there's more reward now because with the state on board, there won't be so many seizures of equipment and product and all. I think the risk is still there on the Fed side, but in my opinion, the IRS just wants their money. So as long as you're following the 280 restrictions and other requirements, if you give them their money, I think they're happy.
What's the one thing our audience should know if they're thinking about going into this industry and thinking about getting a hold of a CPA?
I think it's to understand the tax ramifications that, quick example, if you're a retail store, regular, and you have $1 million of income, and after your expenses, you have $100,000 of taxable income. Cannabis side, you have $1 million, but for all the expenses that you lose, you're at $500,000 of taxable income. So it's quite a big tax bite, not to mention all the other extra security and things like that you have to have in place.
and they want to get someone with a lot of experience in this area, right?
Of course, right. You want to make sure you're doing it right from the get-go, rather than cleaning up from back.
All right, Harley Sherman, thanks for being with us. 2019 Cannabis Industry Summit. We'll be right back.